But then there's a ram and a goat and birds. And in this case, it's not just a cow, it's the next level. May I become like the ram. May I become like the goat. May I become like these birds. And that's the image, that you've got this long line of dead things. And if you walk down that aisleway through those dead things, you're saying this covenant is 4 times serious. This covenant is real. This covenant is hard, fast. I mean, this is it. There's no way anyone is going to break this covenant. That's the seriousness of this moment. When I was a kid, we used a phrase, cross my heart and hope to die. Is that still around? Do people still do that? Yeah, I'm old. So cross my heart and hope to die. You were going to make a promise to someone, and they'd say, I really promise, I'm serious about it. You sure? Yeah, I swear it. Are you positive you're going to do this? Cross my heart. Cross your heart and hope to die. Cross my heart and hope to die. Stick a needle in my eye. That was the last one. And when I was a kid, people were saying that. I was like, what does that all mean? It means you're swearing to your own death. Okay? That's what it's about. It says, may I die if I'm lying to you. I don't think the little kids know that's what they're saying. Okay? It's just a phrase. Say it too fast and it rhymes, and then it's all right. It's cool. But cross my heart and hope to die. That's the thing, okay? If I break it, may I die. Here's the amazing thing. Abram is waking up from his sleep. He's a little groggy, but the sun hasn't yet set. It's still setting. And he opens up his eyes, and what he sees is a bowl and a torch passing through the middle of the pieces. And he's not there. He's watching it happen. If this is a covenant God is making with Abraham, he should be in there too. It should be somehow God and Abraham walking together through that, right? That's the way the covenant is supposed to go. It should be God saying to Abraham, if you break this covenant, I'm going to chop you in half, just like this cow. And it should be Abraham saying to God, God, if you break my covenant, I guess somehow you're going to die? What's that all about? God says, I'm the only one taking responsibility for this covenant here. You just sit over there. I'm going to tell you how serious I am, God says. I'm walking through this. You've got the image of the bowl, the image of the torch, the image of the flame. Somehow the Trinity is represented in there. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Father, Son, Holy Spirit are somehow represented in there. God is walking through the pieces by himself. And he says, I'm making a promise to you, Abraham. If this covenant gets broken by you or by me, I'm the one who's going to die. He walks through the center of those pieces. He says, I promise you, Abraham, I'm going to do this for you. Cross my heart and hope to die. If either one of us breaks this covenant, if I break this covenant, then may I become like this piece. If you break this covenant, may I become like these pieces. God himself says, if you break faith, I'm going to die. See, what God is doing in that moment is he is taking personal responsibility for our lack of faith. Abram shows one tiny little bit of doubt, and God says, I'm taking responsibility for your lack of faith. I am so serious about this promise that I will pay if this covenant gets broken. This is a one-sided, total abandon act of love from God to a human being. We find centuries later that Abraham's descendants failed in that covenant many times. Then you come to sometime around 30 AD when a man named Jesus stands in front of his disciples and says, this bread is my body broken for you. This cup is my blood, which is the new covenant in my blood given to you. And Jesus says, the new covenant comes when my body is broken in two. That's the image set up for us in Genesis 15. That's the image. That's the milestone in Abraham's life that takes him to chapter 22. So then when God later on says, I want you to sacrifice your son, Abraham says, I have no idea how this is going to go. But I have a God who takes responsibility even for my lack of faith. I want to give you something to take this home with, because I don't know where you are today. Some of you might be feeling like you're in that place of darkness or doubt. God hasn't come through for you like you thought He would, like you wanted Him to. And it's hard for you to believe that He's going to do what He promised He would do, that He would take care of you, that He would love you, that He would shape you into being more like Jesus, that He would turn your circumstances into something for eternal good. It's hard for you to believe that He's going to do that. And I can tell you today, accept that He will, even if you question how He will. Because look at this verse in Hebrews 11, the same chapter that we started with. It says this, without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. The ultimate act of faith is simply this. I believe that God's real and that He blesses those who pursue Him. I believe God is real and He blesses those who pursue Him. God gives grace and just wants my faith. I believe that He's real and I'm going to trust that. He's going to bless when I pursue Him. And some of you are here thinking, I don't even have that kind of faith. Well, you know what? Even if you did have that kind of faith, you can't take credit for it, because look at this next verse. Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, it says, for it's by grace you've been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves. It's the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. God's grace is what saves you through faith, but the faith doesn't come from you. The faith itself is a gift of God. This faith, this is not from yourselves. It's the gift of God. God takes responsibility for your lack of faith. He sent His Son to do something in historical fact. You don't have to have faith, you just have to have a little bit of historical knowledge to know that Jesus died and rose again. That's history. You don't need to have faith about that. God is even giving you faith. He's just handing it to you and says, here you go. If you just simply believe that I'm real and that I really do bless, that's good enough for me. And I will label you righteous and clean and pure. So I don't know where you are today with regard to your faith, with regard to your milestone, with regard to your darkness. But at some point in your past or today, you should claim this milestone as yours. That God, by His grace, promises me eternity, and I, by His faith, receive it. If you've never done it, do it today. Today is your day. Say, God, I'm opening up my hands and asking for your forgiveness. If you've done it in the past, then claim it. Even if you're in a dark place today, claim that God is the one who really is existing and really does bless those who seek Him. Because God gives us grace and just wants our faith. And He even takes responsibility for our lack of faith.